Interest rates are going through the roof just in time for the spring housing season. Does that mean the market here in the Bay Area is finally starting to shift? I'm Sean.engmann, an MBA and certified real estate negotiation expert. If you enjoy my content, please support me by hitting the like button and subscribing below. The short answer to whether a market shift or a collapse is coming to the Bay Area housing market is no, especially not anytime soon. While many casual observers are seeing a housing bubble in the Bay Area, much like prior to the subprime crisis of '08, the reality is that the fundamentals now are completely different than they were back then. Let's start by looking at supply and demand. In order for the market to reverse, there will need to be some combination of a substantial increase in the supply of housing and a significant reduction in demand. To put into perspective where things are, we'll take a look at the absorption rate, which is the best measure of supply and demand in real estate. The absorption rate measures the number of sales against the number of available properties in a given period of time, with a rate in excess of 33% generally defined as a seller's market. In March, the absorption rate in Santa Clara and San Mateo counties combined for pending sales closed the first quarter at 128.3% and soared to 175.2% in March. The last time the quarterly absorption rate fell below 33% in those combined counties was 2011. As the absorption rate shows, a substantial amount of upheaval in the current market will need to take place to change the dynamics of the market. Given that, let's take a look at interest rates. As of April 11th, the average 30-year fixed rate sits at 5.25%, according to Mortgage News Daily. That's up over a full point in just a month and marks only the second time the rate has exceeded 5% since 2011. The jump in interest rates has been swift and was triggered by a quarter-point increase in the federal funds rate by the Federal Reserve in March. Buckle your seatbelts because the Federal Open Market Committee now expects to raise the rate at each of its 6 remaining meetings this year. So, are the rising rates enough to cause an upheaval in the market? Certainly there's going to be an impact on the demand side, but let's take a look at the supply side first, where inventory has been extremely low and trending downward. Year-over-year monthly inventory throughout the Bay Area has fallen 27 months in a row. Let's compare that with what happened in '08. In 2008, there was an influx of supply that hit the market due to foreclosures and short sales, and demand simultaneously dried up as subprime lenders collapsed and access to credit became harder. Mortgage rates throughout the 2000s were between 5 and 7%, much higher than they've been for the last decade, particularly recently, where we've seen record lows within the last 2 years. In the 2000s, risky adjustable rate mortgages with balloon payments were prevalent. They are not right now. In stark contrast to the last bubble, homeowners are now predominantly locked into fixed rate mortgages at record low rates, as many have taken advantage of refinancing opportunities. Due to appreciation and enhanced lending standards, most homeowners now hold a substantial amount of equity in their homes. In '08, many homeowners were underwater and facing balloon payments that they could not afford. In contrast, today, homeowners have substantial equity and are locked into mortgage payments that are well below the current market rate. In essence, many are locked into a standard of living that they wouldn't be able to afford on the open market. With no external pressure to sell, the question becomes, where is the additional supply going to come from? Sellers who need to finance a new property are likely going to face paying rates 3+ points higher than their current payment, plus the possibility of a large capital gains tax bill. In that aspect, the interest rates could potentially even depress supply. Sellers moving out of the Bay Area to cheaper markets are the strongest candidates to sell, but that's already the case and has been for some time. Same with sellers looking to downsize and use the equity to pay cash for their new property. Perhaps others could sell to gain access to liquidity, given the high rates, and investors could take advantage of 1031 exchange sales. Even so, a large increase in inventory does not appear to be forthcoming. On the demand side, the people who are most impacted by the rate increases are buyers who need financing to either enter the market or to move to a more expensive house. These are precisely the same people who are disproportionately losing out currently in bidding wars, and the rates may push them out of the market entirely, or perhaps even out of the area. Some buyers looking to purchase second and third homes by taking advantage of low interest rates, which was a feature, particularly during the pandemic, will likely leave the market as well. A good number of those buyers could choose to pay cash for their homes, and while the exodus of these buyers from the market will soften it somewhat, given that supply is likely to remain extremely low, how much of an impact will it truly have? Investors who've been active recently figure to continue to be active because real estate is considered a very good hedge on inflation. On a broad scale, while I expect absorption rates to fall as interest rates increase and the pace of home appreciation starts to slow, I don't expect there to be a major correction in the housing market. There's simply too little supply and too much intrinsic demand here in the Bay Area. I do expect the market to soften and potentially decline in some areas as a result of the interest rate increases. Areas of the Bay Area with lower general demand, particularly those where demand is high for second and third homes, could soften. The condo market, which is already comparatively weak, is likely to soften significantly. Some areas in the East Bay, where that's the tip of the spear right now for entry-level home buyers, may suffer as well from reduced demand. For buyers who are looking to get into the market, I strongly encourage you not to wait hoping for the market to crash. If you can afford to buy now, you should do so and get in the market before the increasing rates price you out completely. Interest rates are trending upward and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. While today's 5% rate doesn't look very good compared to the 2% rates where they were last summer, it's still likely to look pretty good at the end of this year, where rates could be in the 7% range. Sellers remain in the driver's seat. Due to changing market conditions, I wouldn't expect the same rate of appreciation over the next few years, particularly on entry-level homes. If you have an entry-level home, may now be a time to consider selling as you're close to the top of the market, but that depends where you are from a cash position and what your goals are. If you're thinking about leaving the area, now is the ideal time to sell, in my opinion. At this point, if you sell, you're going to get a premium for your home. Home prices continued to increase in March, with the median sales price in San Mateo County for single-family homes climbing to $2.04 million, with a median days to sell of just 8. San Francisco's median price also exceeded $2 million, reaching $2.03 million, with a median days to sell of 11. The sales to list ratios on single-family homes in March exceeded 110% throughout the Bay Area, topping out at 122.2% in San Francisco, followed by Alameda County clocking in at 121.2% and Santa Clara County at 117.5%, with San Mateo County coming in at 115.3%. In the condo market, the median price in San Francisco held steady at $1.25 million, while it fell off nearly 7% in San Mateo County and held steady in Santa Clara County. Throughout the Bay Area, the sales to list ratios for condos came in at about 106%, topping out at 108.7% in Santa Clara, with the median days to sell in Marin at 21, but 14 or fewer days throughout the rest of the Bay Area. Thank you for watching this month's market update. If you like my content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons or leave a comment below. For resources for buyers and sellers, click on the links in the descriptions. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.